Hi there and welcome. Thank you to everybody who's watching this video, who's taking the time to watch it. Thank you for giving it a thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up. If you want to leave a comment, great. I love all your comments and I love to read them. If you are new to my channel, I hope you find content that you like. In today's tutorial, let me mention that in my crochet chat video, and I'm not sure if it was one or two, I showed all my blankets that I did. And this specific blanket that I made, the first blanket I ever made for myself, got a huge response. People asked how to make it, and I said, okay, if people want to know how to make it, I will make a tutorial. And it's very easy to make, but there's a few things that I want to stress if you're going to make it. This blanket is the original. Let me just show you the original. And then let me turn it around. So this blanket is incredibly colorful. It has a lot of applique on it. So I need to mention that when I made this for myself, I made it square by square, meaning I didn't go and buy all the yarn. You can see this is variegated. If I liked a ball of yarn, I would buy that and I would work it into this blanket somehow. And that is what I did. In South Africa at wool shops, what you often get is someone would make little flowers and they would sell it to the wool shop, and the wool shop would then put it next to the cashier and you would see it there, or it's on display. And I would, if I go and buy a ball of yarn, I would buy a few hearts. Next time I go, I buy a few flowers. So I did not do all the applique on this blanket myself. I bought it and put it on. And then when the request came for a tutorial, I thought, well, I can do it. It's just I'm too lazy to do it. I don't like it. It's not my thing. Blankets are my thing. Ponchos are my thing. So I'm decided to put a tutorial out. And I did it in stages. Now I want to tell you this. When I made this blanket, I made the squares first. Each square, made each square. Then I eventually laid it out on my bed. So that, some of them are like a Christmas tree. Very, very colorful. So I don't want that. So you've got to tone it down a bit with a few solid colors in between. Low-key colors, so that's what I did. So I would make a few extra blocks, and that's how it progressed over time. And I told you in the crochet chat video that one of the squares, not one of the squares, there's a few, but one of them was, for instance, something happened. My aunt came to visit me and we did a project together, a thing together, and I made a square in the 3 colors of that. Now obviously, there we go, it was the one that is these 3 colors, those 3. So when I look at this one, I remember that fond memory. So this is what this blanket was about. It was the first blanket I made for myself, and it was about making memories, taking my time, making square by square when I have the time, while I'm busy with other projects. Okay, so now there was the request for a tutorial. Which meant that I did things differently this time. Now my recommendation to you, please pay attention here. My recommendation to you is, do it the way I did it. Square by square by square. And apply the applique, put the applique on a square where you want it. And when you've finished all your squares, only then assemble it, because it is so much easier to take one little square and maneuver it and sew the rose, the heart, the flower, the leaf, whatever you want to do sew it on it. Otherwise, you've got to flip the blanket all the time, which is what I had to do, which is why I can tell you, don't do it like that. It's much easier to do it the way I did it when I made the first one, which is the whole motivation behind this tutorial, is the way the first one came out. Okay, so let's go to the remake, the one I made. Okay, so this is the one I made. Now let me tell you, this is very colorful and for a reason. Can you see how colorful this is? And let me turn it around. I do give you the size in the tutorial. You see how big this is? How colorful it is? And the reason is because I bought yarn. Because I have to tell you, when I do the tutorial, you want to make this, how much yarn must you go and buy? Now the first one I used scrap, so there was no keeping note of how much I must go and buy, because I didn't go and buy it all in one. But with this one, because I have to tell you, I took yarn that was all the same make and color, not the same make, the same brand, not the same color. As you can see, it's like a Smartie pack, Smarties, colors of the rainbow. But so that I could tell you, you know, one ball is so many squares. If you want to make it all in one as a gift, how many should you buy? That's what it was about. That's the motivation for that. So this is what I made. Now I am going to, in the tutorial, even put up a warning for those if you forget. When I get to the point where I want to assemble, warning, my recommendation is at this point, finish the squares first and then come back to the first video and then assemble, because it just makes life so much easier. Okay, so I did tell you that. I don't want to forget to tell you anything important, because I only usually tell you anything you need to know extra about a tutorial in the introduction. So what I'm now going to do, what is not yet done on this blanket, is surface chain stitch. Surface chain stitch. Can you see the surface chain stitch there? This is a single color square with surface chain stitch worked on the surface. Now this is a square with rows of multicolors, but a stripy square. But sometimes you make one like this and you put them all together and you think it's a bit bland, it needs a bit of color. So that now you don't have to go and make it, redo it. You just do the surface chain stitch. So I'm still busy with that, and I will finish that by the time that you finish this tutorial, because it's going to be, you see there with that flower, I added 2 little rows there, and this plain blue square I added some stripes there. So I haven't finished. I'm going to lay this out on my bed, you know, put it out and say, oh, I want a little stripey here, I wanted a little stripey there. So at the end of the, is it 4 or 5 weeks, I will be finished, completely finished, because that's the only thing that is missing on this blanket is a few straps. And I want to put it in because I love it. That's the creative part, and it's so beautiful and easy. So the first episode, or part 1, is going to be how to make the squares, how to assemble it, and how to do the border. But remember, you're only going to make the squares. Then we're going to do, now I can't remember, but we are going to do, the second one is going to be either, I can't remember the name now, but we're going to do roses and leaves, hearts and flowers. I think flowers is the first applique. And so that's what we're going to do. And in the last one, we're going to do that chain stitch I just told you about. And then that will be the end, and then I will show you my completed blanket. So you go ahead and you make your squares, but you know, I can't tell you what to do, but I can highly recommend that you only assemble afterwards. After you've finished all your little roses, all your applique, everything is done, then you assemble. Okay, enough talk. Let's get going. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, tell me which ones you liked best, and yes, let's get going. This is the yarn we're going to use for this project. This in South Africa, this is a go-to charity double knit affordable, and we use it for blankets, ponchos. It's 100% acrylic. Let's just have a look at the label. 233 meters. It is 100 grams ball of yarn. 100% acrylic, we know that. 4mm hook, my favorite. And I will put how many meters you need for this project so that you'll be able to calculate how many balls of yarn you need to buy, or else you can use your stash or scrap. This is a lovely scrap project. Then I'm going to use a pair of scissors, which is what you'll need as well, my 4mm hook, and this is my favorite kind, and a yarn needle. So let's start with our first square. For our first square, I'm going to use this color, which is one of the colors in my blanket. It's a more peachy color. We make a slip knot like this. And a bit loose. Now, this is a little bit different technique than I used when the first time I made the blanket, so just bear with me. We're going to put on 21 chains, right? So it's yarn over, and try and keep it loose, looser than you normally would. So we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4. Should I come closer a bit? Like that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Remember to keep it loose. 15 and 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 plus 1 to turn. So now I've got 20 chains. There we go. Now a chain will be that V, right? So in the second chain from the hook is where we're going to start working. The one on the hook does not count, so we're going to the second V from the chain, and we're going to turn it, yarn over, and put our hook through that little bump. And I'm using my nail here to get the hook through like that. Yarn over, pull through, and I've got 3 on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all, and that is a half double crochet. Yarn over, and I'm holding it like this so I can see the next little bump, and put my hook through that little bump. Yarn over, pull through, and I've got 3 on the hook. yarn over and pull through all 3, my second half double crochet, and again turn, pull through and make another half double crochet. So I'm going to go and make half a double crochet in every stitch so that I have 20 half double crochets. See, that is the V, and I'm just turning it so that I can go through that little back loop. And I'm just going to do another one, and then I'm going to show you why we're doing it like that. Just holding it, and I'm just take the first row slow, just to get to set it up nicely. See, and that's what it looks like. But now, if I turn it like this, can you see there you have lovely V's, where if you if you work the normal way, which is working through there, through that one side of the V, you do not get that smooth V, row of V's there that you would get. And I want that because this is going to help you when you're going to sew these, crochet these blocks together. So let me show you one that's already done. This is we started here at the bottom, and now look, if you turn it up, there it has all those beautiful V's. See, like that. There. Now that is easy. When you need to crochet something together, it's easy to get a hold of that. Now we're going to go up, and you see when you end, you have it like this. So now with the way that we do it, our beginning and our end looks exactly the same, which makes it very easy to work with and to crochet these squares together. And that is what we want to, that's our aim here, is to do that. So let's just continue. And this is what we've got so far. And we're not working in, look, if it's easier for you to just work in the one side of the V, nothing stops you. It's not the end of the world if you do. But in this tutorial, I'm just going to show you the way I'm going to do it, the way that I'm going to do it now, this time. And half a double crochet, and another half a double crochet. And every time, just in that little, let's call it a little bump there. Just, it's like the bottom of the stitch. Yarn over, and my nail is helping me to just grab a hold of that little bump and push the hook through. Now you can imagine if your chains were done very tight, how difficult it would be. You'd be struggling quite a bit to get through it. You don't want that like that. I'm just using my nail to just go through there. Yarn over and yarn over, pull through all, make a lovely half double crochet like that. And like another one, go for that little, there's the V, I need that little bump, use my nail to just get through it. Just take your time in your first row, take your time doing the chains, take your time seeing to it that it is a little bit looser than you probably normally do it, because you want this process of picking that little bump to be easy. You don't want to be struggling to get through it. So there we go. Another one, and we're nearly there. I love making this blanket because it is easy. It's warm because it's not holey. There are no holes. There we go. And this is the second last one. And I am going through, yarn over, pull through everything, a lovely half double crochet. Now there's the last V, turn, and there is the last little bump. So yarn over, and I'm using my nail to go through there, and yarn over, and that is our first row. So let's just count. 1, that is our first. Let's count from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting the V's. See the V's on top? I'm counting that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that is your first V there. And we need 20. And these little squares are 20, you can say 20 stitches by 15 rows. Very easy, beautiful. Beautiful to put a plique on it, beautiful to put little patterns on it. I love it. Okay, so now that was our first row. Let's just do this. And this is really beginner friendly. Chain 1. Turn your work, yarn over, and make a half double crochet into every stitch. Now let me just say that my daughter asked me, where should she put the hook? She wanted to put the hook, you know, below and in those two. And I said, no, no, no. Wait, let me just focus. You put the hook in that hole you see there, that gap. That's where you put the hook, because you're going to go through 2 under that V. There's the V. See? So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through everything. So it was good that my daughter asked her to do a few of these blocks so that I could see what she was struggling with. So that is where you're going to put the hook, in that little gap there. Do not think of this as a V. That is not the V, and you're not going to go under this. Nope. There is the V on top. And you're going to put your hook through there every time. So yarn over. See that as the gap where you should put it through. And you do your half double crochet. So it's yarn over, through, get some yarn, pull through, yarn over, and through everything. And that is how you're going to continue to the end of this row. And then you need 15 rows. This is one color, but I have many blocks that are multicolored. So I want to show you how, when I have multicolored blocks, in this blanket, the aim is to work in as few ends as possible. So I don't want to work in ends. So now all you need to do is you're going to continue like this to make a block like this. You're going to continue to the end, and I'll meet you there. Okay, now remember I said that beginners also struggle with knowing where to end. So let's just, if you're a beginner, if you're not sure where to end, just count. You need to have 20 in every row. There's your first one, and you can count the V if you want. me just come a bit closer. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I need one more and yarn over, and I need to help it if it's a bit difficult. Go through both loops of that V, yarn over, pull through, and chain 1 to go up. So now that's my second row done. I've chained 1, I can turn, and I'm going to put my hook in. Let me just show you where. There. That's where I put my hook in. And I'm going to make another row, so like this. And then I will meet you at the end of this row, because I want to show you how to change color. I'm going to do a few rows, not on camera, otherwise this is going to be a very long video. And what we're going to do is I want to show you how to change color using my Pinky Magic, what I call Pinky Magic. And you can just use it, call it anything you like, and you can change color any way that you like. This is just one way I'm showing you. And then I see you in a few rows. Okay. So let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows. And let's say we want to change color. If you didn't want to change color, you just continue until you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 rows. And you know, even I lost count at one point. So the way I remembered is that both the beginning and the end little tag is on the same side. So I did one square and it had a tag on this side. So I thought, well, that's funny, and let me count. 16 rows, you know, because you get going, you're in the groove, and you forget about how many rows. Anyway, so 15 rows is one square. Now, say I want to change color halfway. So let's see. Let's just count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And let's just finish my last stitch here through those 2 V's. Like that. Yarn over, through, yarn over, through everything. Lovely half double crochet. There you go. Now, what I call Pinky Magic is simply, that's just my little name for it. But what I do is I measure the width of my pinky there, and then this is where I cut it off. So I would measure, that's about the width of my pinky, cut, right? Cut it. So now what I'm going to do is take out my hook and undo. Just pull out a little bit. There we go. Now I'm going to take my next color, which is a lovely blue. It looks bluer on the screen. It is called Aqua. Oh, but I love this blue. So I'm going to take this Aqua. Let's just get some of this Aqua. And I'm going to make a magic knot. So those of you who know how to do this, just fast forward. Those who don't, like my daughter, didn't know, how do you do that magic knot, she said. I said, this is how you do it. You first measure your pinky's width, cut it off, so that you've got in your mind, that is about the width of your pinky, and that is where the knot must land. So you're going to put the 2 strands like that together. And you're going to tie this one around that one, and that one around this one. So I'm going to take this pink, salmon pink, and I'm going to make a little knot like this. Just a little knot, slowly, slowly, because that must be as wide as my pinky. That's what I want. Slowly, like that. So that if I put my pinky there, you see? So that knot is going to land exactly where I want it to land. Now I need to knot this blue around that. So I'm just going to turn it because it's easier for me to do it that way. Just make a little knot. And this one doesn't matter. The new color, the blue, doesn't matter how long that is. Okay. Now what? Take hold there and take hold there and pull. Pull, 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 pull all the way. Pull, pull, pull tight. And bring it up like that. Tight, tight. Where's my little scissors? And right by the knot. Let's see how close we can get. Right by the knot. Snip it, but not the knot. Nothing that needs to be snipped. Everything that needs to stay intact needs to stay intact. Like that. Now that knot is going nowhere. See, it won't break. Okay. Now we are just going to do this. Redo those 2 half double crochets that I pulled out. 1 and then there. And pull through like I would. Hey, it mustn't split on me. Do not split on me. Like that. Now can you see that the little knot has now landed in the stitch? It can land next to it. It can land wherever it wants to. The point is there's no end to work in. And I'm going to make 1 chain. And I'm going to turn my work. And I'm going to continue like I've been continuing. A whole row of half double crochets. 1 and 2 and 3, and can you see that is what it looks like? There is no end to work in. So let me continue, and then we take a look at this again. I love doing that pinky magic knot in just about every project, because it's not going to break and there's nothing to work in. Because even in a blanket that I've done a few years ago, you know, the ends might come out, but I've also changed the way that I work in ends. In all my videos that you've seen, I go to and fro 3 times, because previously I just used to crochet the ends in, and I have found that if you crochet it in, it comes out in the wash. You wash that blanket, there's little pieces sticking out everywhere, and then you either have to work it in again or you have to cut it off. And I personally just don't like that. Okay, so let me continue to the end of this square. I just want to show you, sometimes when you get to the end of a row, it's like that last V is a bit difficult. It doesn't want to cooperate. So I use my nail to just help me to push through both loops of the V. You know, just so that I'm sure it is at the right place and everything is done right. Look at how beautifully straight this edge is. See, that is what I love about it. Chain 1, turn. Okay, let me do a few more. There we go. 9 of this pink, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There we have it. Lovely. And I give them all just a little bit of a tail. Not too much. How much, you know? About as much as your one of your tall, long fingers, not your pinky. And pull it through nice and tight. What I love is the straight edge. I love how straight it comes out. Look at that. Love it. And look, that's where we started. Now you can imagine if you're going to take these blocks and you have to crochet them together, how easy it's going to be, because, you have a V and a V corresponding. You see, that is the benefit of this, making the block the way that we started out. So if you didn't make it that way and you made it in the traditional way, where you just worked in the one V side of the V, one leg of the V, then it's just a little bit more tricky to find that. Now we need 144 of these squares. And what I did was, now if you tell someone you have to make 144 squares, that's a lot. It's discouraging. So you think, oh, this is a big mountain to climb. So what I did was, I would make 12. Just make 12. Concentrate on 12. And then I would put a little ribbon around it. So let me just get my squares. Reach out and grab some to show you. This is what it looks like. This is just one little heap with a little string piece of yarn around it. I'm going to take all 12 bundles now and lay them out on the bed. See, nothing to work in. Nothing to work in. Isn't that lovely? Now this is as shocking pink as it gets. A hot pink and that striking yellow. And here we have like a mustard, even darker than this. Really dark mustard and a green. So that's 2. Lovely lavender. Looks blue on the screen, but it's a lilac. This one is that mustard with dark purple, and then again that same one. And that is what you do. You make every one. This one is a very pale green, very pale, although it looks like blue. But let's bring that blue next to it, then you can see this is very pale. I don't think the camera always knows what to do. Wow, this looks like Christmas red with yellow. But now you see, when we put the applique on, when you make your little square, you keep in mind and you say to yourself, I'm going to put a little stripe there because I want to put a little heart here, the same color as the stripe. And that's what you do. This one is a little bit of a variegated yarn, which I love, because now you put this next to this and it just tones it down a bit, you know. And it's more than one color without being a definite stripe. And there we go. These are the colors. Orange as can be. This is more salmon. Green and pink, green and yellow. Yeah, green and yellow. And this is more or less the same color that we did now, but with that the one we did right now was this. See, so this one is a little bit different. So you decide whether you want to put a little flower on it or just like this or whatever. Now I'm going to take my 144 squares, lay it out on the bed, Then I must bring it back to this table. I'm going to show you a picture. Then I must bring it back to this table and put it together, crochet it together. And the thing is that in this video I will show you how to crochet together and how to do the border, because then that is the, how do you say, that is the blanket done. Then all that remains to be done is the applique, which I will put in a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4, maybe a part 5. Depends. I think there's about 4 appliques that I'll use, or 3. I'm still deciding, and then I'll show you that and how I will put it on. But I thought the best way to do this is to show you how to do the blocks, how to assemble it, and how to do the border. So let's go and lay all 144 out on my bed and get you back here. So here we are, all 144 is laid out on my bed, and I'm holding it in my hand, my camera, so excuse any shakiness. Here we go, 12 by 12, and I've just saw to it that there is at least a variegated or a stripy one per row or per column. Now I'm going to crochet it together from left to right, and then from the top to the bottom, but first from left to right horizontally. Before we do the vertical rows, we're going to do horizontal, because with the vertical there is something I need to explain. Okay, so let's get back to the table. I have to laugh. I'm saying we must crochet together from the left to the right. I mean from right to left. Anyway, this is the yarn we're going to use to crochet the blocks squares together. It is double knit, L family knit. I actually ran out last night, as I said in the live, and I had to go and buy. And I just bought a whole pack. Obviously, I'll put down there how much you'll need to connect the squares. But this is what we're going to use, and this is only 50 grams and 150 meters. Let's just come closer. 150 meters, 50 grams, 4mm hook. Lovely cream. It says the color is porcelain, which is a creamy color. It's definitely not white. Okay, so this is what we're going to use, and now we're going to start to put it together. So this is what happened. This was my first row of squares, and what I did was, obviously now I've got to remove it from the bed because, you know, sleeping time comes. So what I did was I numbered each stack. So I would, let's just get rid of this. What I would do is, this is the first, this was the block on the far right. Then next to that one was this one. And so I put this one on top of this one, on top of this one, and I did the same with the second row. So that as I laid it out, it will stay in the same order. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove number 1, and I'm going to remove, let me not knock the camera. I'm going to remove number 2, and I'm going to remove the little string that was around it, so that this is how we're going to start putting it together. I'm going to take my cream yarn and this is how it's going to lie, like this. This one will be next to this one. And then as I move it like that, I'll move this one down, you see, so that they stay in the same sequence. So we are going to do the horizontal. I'm just going to refer to it as horizontal connection first. And the reason why we're going to do that is because we did this block, all the blocks from the bottom up. So not like this, but like this. So we are going, all the blocks are now placed like that, from the bottom up. So we're going to crochet from here, from the right, let me say it correct this time, from the right to the left we're going to crochet. Then eventually, when all these horizontal, the blocks are connected horizontally, we're going to turn the blanket, which means we're going to be doing this. Now the trick that I found with this blanket is if you connect it this way, this is the side of a block. And somehow when I used double knit to connect these two blocks, it pulled in. And I didn't want that. So the solution that I found was to use chunky or two, double up on the double knit. So 2 strands of double knit to get to chunky, so that I can make one per row. I put a stitch in so that there's 15 stitches. Now you know we've got 20 going this way and 15 going that way. So obviously if you look at it, it looks square, but these the row height, let me say it like that, the row height is higher than the stitch width. And that is why it's necessary to, when you do it vertically, you are going to connect this with a chunky or 2 strands of double knit. But let's start at the beginning here with the connecting, just this little bit I'm going to do with you, and then you do the rest, and then we meet up together again. So okay, first we're going to do our slip knot. There we go. Now I just want to say I did not work the end of each block in yet. I want to work it in. You can crochet it in if you want to. But remember what I said, my experience is that after the first or the second wash, a little bit will start showing, and I don't want that. So I'm going to see to it that all the little pieces land on the wrong side. Then when I turn my blanket around, I'm going to take this color and work it in on the same color blanket 3 times. This way, back, and this way again. And I just find that that stays in. So that's just my method. You are welcome to do it. What is your preference? Of course. So let's start with the way that I want to do this. I'm going to do it like this. Now, obviously, this one is difficult to see on the camera, but fortunately, our binding color is beautiful and light. So I'm going to take 2 squares and I'm going to line them up. And I'm going to do single crochets. Now, let's come right up close. I'm going to go through the first V. Where are you? Come here, V. There we go. No. There we go. Yes, like that. There's a V. And this is nearly too dark for my eyes to see as well. There we go. 2. Okay, and let me just get rid of this little straggler end here. Yarn over pull through everything, and then just a single crochet, and through the next one, through the next V, and the next V, and yarn over and pull through the next one and the next one, yarn over and pull through. Lovely, 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 lovely. Now there's no, you could have made this binding color any color that is left over from your colorful stash. No reason why it should be a creamy color. I'm just duplicating, redoing what I have been doing. There we go. I just like the effect that this has. Like that. There you go. Pull through both. Yarn over, pull through. That's a single crochet. Go through, pull through, yarn over, and there we go. So I'm going to go and continue, and then I'll meet you there. There we go. Now I'm going to do my last stitch through that V, and through that V. It's now unfortunate that my first square is dark purple, but both go through the V, and it's just a matter of pulling it through and on over and pull a single crochet. Now we're going to jump to the next two, to this corner and this corner. So there we go. Put them together like this, and this is what we're going to do. Hold nicely, don't let anything become loose. I'm going to go into that V, and the corresponding V, and sometimes I even battle to see. So let me count from this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So let me just make sure. You see, so if you are in doubt, then you just do what I've done. I see to it that it goes through the first and the second. There we go, through the V. And that's what you need. You need the two corresponding. And I'm just going to pull my cream yarn so that it is tight. Not tight, but it mustn't be loose. There mustn't be a gap. And pull through both like this, tight. Bring it together tight, like this. And yarn over like this. Let me just move the light a little bit. There we go. Now we're going to have more light on the subject. And through the next V and the next corresponding V. And I'm just going to wiggle this crochet hook through and yarn over and wiggle it through back the way it came. Yarn over. There we go. Yarn over. There we go. There we go. Through both. Grab the yarn, pull through. I'm not rushing this because, you know, when something is done, finished, nobody asks you, oh, how quick did you do it? They just say it's beautiful or it's not beautiful. Obviously, if it's done not well, they're going to assume you did it sloppily, fast, don't care. That's why I take my time with this, obviously, and when it's off camera, it definitely goes faster than it's going now. But this is just so that you see what I'm doing. Corresponding single crochet, corresponding V this side, and I see to it that I have both loops of the V every time. And now you're just going to carry on and do what I did for the rest of this, all the horizontal rows. I must always think twice. Sometimes I call around a row and a row around, but you're so clever. You can figure it out because you know what I mean. Okay, so let me just meet you at the end of this block. There we go. These two have been done. This is what it looks like. And by the way, I always work from one side to the other side, because you can see it looks slightly different from this side than it does from this side. So I don't want one edge to lean this way and one to lean this way. That's just my preference. So first two, let me take that out of the way like that. Now, remember I've got my two towers here, and I'm going to slip that one off and slip this one off, and that is how I'm going to proceed. Then this one and then this one, you know, move and slip them off and slip them off and proceed until I get to the end of this row. Then this is row 1, row 2. Then I'm going to take row 3. Can you make out that 3 with a blue pen? And I'm going to put it there. I'm going to move all of this down, and I'll put that one there and start. Then I'll put the second one there, continue. And the pink one is going to land there, continue. And that is just how I keep track of what belonged where. Otherwise, you can always take a photograph with your phone, but I don't like to pack it out and pack it out again and pack it out again and maybe get it wrong. Pack it out once. And I just tore these slips of paper quickly and, you know, to mark it. Used a pin, stabbed it, stabbed it through. And that was that. Okay, so let me continue with that. Okay, so I am holding the camera in my hand, so excuse if it's not stable. This is the progress. This is where we started. There's the 1 for row 1. I've done row 2. I'm on row 3, like that, and I'm ending there. So I'm pushing it this way. And on the third pile, I just take the next one, which I'm going to work in here. And here I just do this. Come, little block. Square. You must be where you are in your place. I'm doing this with one hand now. Then I pull the next one, and I keep it in the order that it was, because I'm not going to turn it around like this, you see. However it was laid out, that's the order I keep. And I am just continuing. So you can see this is not done. This is not done. So we are just, I'm only doing the horizontal rows. Okay, so I'm going to finish the entire blanket, and then we pick up again when we start with the vertical rows, assembling that. There we go. I have now finished putting together all the horizontal rows like this. So we just need to get rid of that, put that on the wrong side, because this is the right side. And all we need to do now is, oh, by the way, this is this is a 50 grams double knit ball, and this is about 8 grams that is left. I've weighed it. So I used 42 grams only to put this blanket together, which is very cool. That is not a lot of yarn. Now we are going to change things, because now we have to do this way. And remember I said we're going to use a chunky or 2 strands of the double knit. So we're going to now take 2 balls of double knit and take a strand out of each and hold it together to form a thicker yarn, or you can buy a chunky of this family knit, same porcelain color, must be the same color as this if you want the look that I have in my blanket. So yes, now we're going to do it this way. I'm switching over to 4.5mm hook, and let's get the balls together and the strands together and start. So I've taken 2 strands of double knit, made a knot, so that now it is 1 strand from here on onwards. And remember I said we've got a 4.5mm hook that we're changing up to. And I thought I should actually explain something. The reason why in my previous blanket I connected with double knit, and this is 20 stitches. These blocks are in double knit, connected with double knit, everything works fine. But when I connect it this way with double knit, this is like 15 rows. So if you want double knit, 15 rows, 15 stitches to look like 20, you have to go into chunky, use chunky. Or there is no other way, because I told you when I used chunky, when I used double knit here, it pulled in like this. So I don't want this. That's why we're going this route. If you know of another solution, I would love to hear what your solution is. So we're going to make a slip knot. And then we are going to, just do this, start here. Now we have to connect with this thick yarn. We have to do 15 single crochets, 1 in each row, because there are 15 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I don't know about you, but I sometimes struggle to see which one is a row. Anyway, so now I want to say please make sure that when you put the hook through, you don't put it through that little hole there, but through the stitch, the actual stitch. Not through that, the end bit, but through the actual stitch. So we're going to go through the first stitch, and then we're going to connect it, and I'm going to turn it over so you can see where this hook is going to come out. See, there. So that's how we're going to connect here. Let's do this. Come, 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 like this. Over and pull through, and we're making a single crochet. Not too tight, but just neat, right? Now I'm going to push through the second row and push through the second. You know, after a while it gets very easy. Push through the second row. And I just check every block. In the beginning I check every block that I have 15 single crochets. So just not too tight, because you don't want it to pull. It must just look neat. Third one and the third one. Like that. So not through there, through the actual stitch. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the actual stitch, and to make sure I'm in the actual stitch here, the side too. So as I said, it's easier on the lap than it is to do it in front of the camera, but I have to show you. So that's 4. There's the 5th one. See, can you see where it comes out? 5. This is my 6th one through row 6 where it comes out. Six and 7. Just take it slow in the beginning, because don't rush. Build up your confidence like I did mine. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is my 8th row. 8th row. Whatever I'm doing here is permanent. You know, don't want to redo it. 9th row. So you can see not there, not there. There's the little half double crochet. So you're going to sort of go around that half double crochet post, if I can put it that way. Maybe saying it like that makes you understand better what I'm doing, and maybe you've done this many times. You don't even need to watch this. You're just going to fast forward. There we go. Take the two together, not too tight, just neat, and there we go. Get some more yarn here. Lots of color in your vision. Just see here like that, wrap around that half double crochet post and do my single crochet and a half double crochet post and a single crochet. I love it. I mean, if you're putting this blanket together, now once you get the hang of it, you can go sit and watch a movie, and this thing can be lying on your lap, and you can just go it, you know, just count. You've got your 15. There we go. Where's my half double crochet post? Wrap around it. See to it that my hook goes underneath it so that I can wrap around it. And my last one. So now that one's a bit difficult, so I'm going using this block and I'm working like this. So I can see there's the half double crochet post, and there is the other one. Go through both, yarn over, single crochet, and what you're seeing there that looks loose is actually the piece of yarn that must be worked in, that's on the wrong side. Now let's see whether we've done the right thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you know that is right, okay? Because there are 15 rows and you have 15 single crochets in your chunky yarn. Now you're going to make one chain to jump over this to reach that next half double crochet. So don't go in there, just make sure you wrap your hook around, or it's at the back of the half double crochet, and then just see to it that it's on the right spot this side. There we go, it's through. Just tighten everything again. If it was a bit loose, wriggle. There you go. Not too tight, because you don't want this effect. You want it to be lovely and flat. Let me do just a few more. Okay, and I'm going to do the same as I did with these. I work so that, can you see that it has a slight, it falls this way. This as well, it falls this way. It obviously has to do with what I was on this side of the work, working into the work, and I see to it that I was on this side all the way. Now I'm going to see to it that I'm on this side all the way, because you don't want one binding color to lean this way and the other one to lean this way. To me, that's untidy. I don't want that. I want it to look gorgeous. So neat, so tidy. Okay, so I'm going to do a few more. Then I'm going to show you what it looks like. And then we're just going to finish this blanket. So there we go. This is what it's going to look like, the end product. Can you see that you can hardly see a difference? You can't see that this is chunky and this is double knit. I mean, if you can, it's such a small thing that it doesn't make a difference to the blanket. So all you need to do is to make sure every one is 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Great stuff. Then I'm going to move up this blanket, but now it's going to be easier on my lap. I'm just going to continue, make one chain, do my 15, one chain, do 15, and then we start off the next row the same, put this at the back and connect 15, and exactly the same way I've just shown you, and you put your, and you just finish the rest of the blanket, and then we are going to do the border. Okay, so continue in this way, finish the rest of the blanket, and I see you again. So I just want to say this is the end of my first round. So what happens here is I've tied it off and I've left a little tail and cut and just tied it off like I normally do. Then, and I've counted that it's 15. Each one I've counted, it is indeed 15. So this is what it's looking like. Looking really good. You can pull it like this. Looking really good. Everyone is 15, so there's no pulling. Everything's going to be grand. Now I'm going to go all the way this side to start on row 2. And all my ends is landing on the wrong side, which is should, right? Okay, so that's my first one. Now I'm going to start here. That's all on the wrong side. And then finish the blanket. So I just wanted to show you how I ended off my first one. That it is really just a case of snipping it off, leaving a tail, and starting again, getting my 2 ends together. Making a little knot. All I did was make a little knot. I just wanted to stick together. Okay, there. And then I make a slip knot with my 4.5 hook still for as long as we're joining with a chunky. And then I'm going to start on my next row. And I'm just going to check with every one that it is indeed 15, 15, 15, just make sure. I don't want to redo anything. So I'm just checking every block as I finish, and I do my one chain to hop over. I just check, is it 15? It's 15. Tick the box, move on to the next one. So what we have done now is we've finished these rows that they were the vertical rows. And we first did the horizontal ones, and then we did the vertical ones. So now we need to start with the border. Now I haven't worked in any ends yet, and as I went along I saw to it that the ends are on the wrong side, and I'll be working that in. But this has turned out absolutely marvelous. This whole thing is too big to get into my little workspace. So now I'm going to show you how to start with the border. So we're going to grab our double knit yarn, the same yarn that we've just been using, just double knit, and one strand this time, and we're going back now. Just get the yarn right here. Remember, for this where we had 2 strands, we used a 4.5 millimeter hook. We're going to put that away. We're going to go back to our 4 millimeter hook, and do a slip knot. And then let me just get back to the camera that I normally use, which is lovely and close up, and then we're going to start with that corner. So this is what we're going to do. I've picked this corner, and we've got our just little loop. Now the word escapes me. You make a, let me just do it again because I just did it. Slip knot. Is that what we call it? Okay. Then you go to that first half double crochet on the corner, the first stitch there. Let's see. Now the math here is you have 20 stitches per square, right? And I want to put 5 shells per square. So sorry, 4 shells, which gives me 5 stitches to work into. So this is what I'm going to do. There we go. Into the top one, I'm going to put a slip stitch like this, yarn over, and I'm going to count. That is my first stitch, second, third stitch. Because I have 5 that I can use, that's a double crochet. I'm going to make 5 double crochets to form a little fan or a shell. 1, and this is my second double crochet, my third double crochet, don't split, and my fourth double crochet, and my fifth in the same, all in the same stitch, which is the third stitch from the start. So now I'm going to count 2, 1, 2. That will bring me to my fifth stitch. So 20 divided by 5 is 4. I will be able, should be able to put 5 shells on this. So count 3, 1, 2, 3. In the third stitch, put a 5 double crochet shell in the same stitch, 1, 2, and 3 double crochets, and 4 double crochets, and 5 double crochets. Now you've been making half double crochets this entire blanket, so maybe a bit of focus. Okay, so that was in the third stitch. 4, 5, just make a slip stitch. There we go. Now count 3, 1, 2, 3, yarn over, and make 5 double crochets in the same stitch to be a shell. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. There we go. 5 double crochets. Count 1, 2. Why only 2? Because we only have 5 stitches space. If this was a parking space, you have 5 stitches to park in. I'm just saying it like that because how else am I going to put it? You know, so let's do this one leading up to the end of this square. 1, 2, 3. So the third one, I'm going to put my 5 double crochets, which will 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets in the same stitch.
Now a slip stitch. Now you can do it the way you want to, but what I find is if I hold all that out of the way in my right hand, I like to actually put my slip stitch on that cream, you know, so you can put it this side of the cream, anywhere in that cream. I like to put it, and it's just a slip stitch like that. Okay, so there we have the end of the first square, like that. That's the corner. Now jump over to the next square. Again, we have 20 stitches, and we're going to do the same. Count 3. You can count the V's if you like. 1, looks like, oh, well, there, 1, 2, 3. It looks like 3 is there. You can put it where you think it is. It's, if I count the V's, that looks like a V. 1, 2, 3. So put it in there and make my 5 double crochets, which is my little fan. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now only count 2. 1, 2. So after the shell you count 2, and up to the shell you count 3. Make my little slip stitch. You can make a single crochet if you want. I just make a slip stitch. Now let me do another few and then we meet up again. Okay, so let's see what I've done here. Let me just pull that out a bit. So from the corner we started with a slip stitch there, and then we count 3, make a 5 double crochet little fan, count 2, slip stitch, count 3, and then 2, 3, and 2. And why? It's because we have 20 stitches divided by 4 is 5 that we have available for each little fan. So that is how I just look. Remember, there's no pattern. We're just winging it. I'm just remaking what I made, and that's what I did. And then I said, when I get to this piece, that is the creamy part, I just go into the creamy part. So then again, you've got 20, and you count 3, make a shell. And the word left my mind. Make a shell, count 2, make a slip stitch. Count 3, in the third one, you make 3 double crochets, which 5 double crochets, which is your shell. Count 2, slip stitch. Count 3, make a shell. Count 2, slip stitch. Count 3, make a shell. Now count 2. Now let me just pull this out a little bit here so you can see. I don't know why this light is so bright. Just try and pull it back a bit. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure if this is better. Not entirely sure if this is better. Let me just pull it out, I said. Let's do that. What I did there was like that and like that. Let's just finish off the last one. So now I could have counted 1, 2 and put in the slip stitch there. No problem. You can do that. I prefer to put it in this creamy center here. So I'm just going to go in there and make a slip stitch. Put all these little ends that I must still work in away and count again 3. Let's just do this. Where Now this is a dark color, so we're counting 1, 2, 3. There's my third V, so I know it's my third stitch, and I make 5. I make another shell, and that is what you. Hey, let me hold it in a different way because this blanket is so big. Where are we now? Pull it here, pull it here. 1, 2, 3. So is that 1, 2, 3? So I'm going to make my shell, and that is how you continue. You just continue with your 4 shells per square, and then I meet you at the end of this side, so that I can show you what we do when we're working around along this side of it, along the side of the squares. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5. Lovely. Count 2, 1 and 2, and just make a little slip stitch. Just go through, make a little slip stitch, and continue. And that is what you're going to continue doing. The color is now getting too dark to be on the camera. These other 2 colors were lovely, camera friendly. So okay, I'll meet you at the end of this side, and then I'm going to show you what we're doing after that. Okay, so I am at the end of this side, meeting you at the end of this side. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 per square. Now we need to just finish this off, and 1, 2 in the second one after that. Let me just go through that little. Why is that little stitch now so small? Don't be small. Like that. Come. Like that. Wait, not off the camera. Are we focusing? Yes, slip stitch. So now we have finished that 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to turn and work this way. So let's see if I can explain how it should be done. How I did it was, I would now yarn over, and the next, as if I'm here, yarn over, and you make another shell. So what I would do is I would skip this row and work into this row. Skip a row, do my slip stitch. Skip a row, that's where I'm going to put my shell. Skip a row, slip stitch. Skip a row, shell. Skip a row, slip stitch. So that's how I did it. So let's just, so obviously because it's 15 rows, if you hold it like this, then you can see where I'm going to put it in. Skip the first row. In the second row, around that half double crochet post, that's where I'm going to put in my hook. So there, around that post. Skip one, and around that post is where I'm going to put my slip stitch. Skip one, and around that post there is where I'm going to put my cluster, my shell. Okay, so let's just get going. Enough explanation. Some people just need to see how it's going to be done. So around that post I go in and I make 5 double crochets. Wait, what am I doing here? Make the 5 double crochets. Skip this one, work into this one, there. Around that post I make my 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 double crochets. Now we need to make a slip stitch, so we're going to skip this row. Into this row we are making a slip stitch. There we go. Just grab some more yarn and skip one, and into the next one we work 5 double crochets into the same stitch, forming our little shell pattern. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and skip one, into the next one, just around that a slip stitch. There we go, looking pretty neat. Skip one, into the next one we're going to work 5, and it's 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 double crochets, skip one, into the next one, work a slip stitch. We've got 3, and now for our last one, get some more yarn, skip one, into that one, work our 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and it is 4, and it is 5. Now, as I did with this, I'm going to try and into that creamy yarn or space, and it can be next to it, it doesn't have to be right on top of it. I want to just push through and make my slip stitch. There we go. Fold that little straggler end away, and that is what it's going to look like. See, that is lovely. I love how that is coming out, and all 4 corners of my blanket does look like this. Nowhere does it end with a shell on the corner, but it doesn't matter because there is no pattern, and what happens is you just do what looks good because you're making it up. If you need to tweak it, that's what you're going to do. And I am going to continue. You now know how to do this, and you know how to do the corner, and you know how to do this. So I'm going to get you at the end of this blanket. So let me just finish off here. I've done my 5 double crochets. So instead of making a slip stitch on its own, I'm just going to slip into that stitch because I just want to slip into it and connect like that. And that is the end of the basic blanket. Now I need to work in all the ends and then do the applique. So let me just work in my ends and then see you again here with a blanket that at least doesn't have any ends. Okay, so we have finished this blanket. I've gone and worked in all my ends, but I wanted to show you something. Remember when we did this, right? The row where the connection where you connected and the binding color was 2 strands of cream. I made a knot And then, now sometimes the knot ended there or landed there at the beginning, and sometimes a bit further away. Okay, so now all I want to say is the hassle with if it's here is I had to undo the knot every time, because now I've got two strands that I want to work in. And I want to work one in on this side and one on this side. Otherwise it's too lumpy. So this is what I did. I would undo the knot. You can see that little where it was knotted. And this is how I would work it in. I would try and go to, say, that side to get in here, like I did with my other shells. You know, I go behind all the time. Let me just see if we can see. Is it too bright? Let me take some light away. Just go like that. Then once like that, and then skip one and go into the next one and through again the second time, and then skip one, so it comes out there, skip one and go in there. So 3 times. I just, that's how I was taught to do it 3 times, and then that would be fine. Let me just get my, okay, and the very last little strand. I have already explained that this blanket, when you make it, when I made my first one, I made it square by square. It was filled with memories and whatever. This is merely a tutorial. So I'm working in there, just in the back of the loops, all the way to that side. Then, if I came out there, go in there. You just, obviously, if you go back the same route, it's going to be the same as pulling it out. 2 and came out there, so skip 1 and go in there 3 times. There we go. And that is perfect. So that's great. Yes, the first time I did this blanket, and I have explained it, you know, I did it square by square. I would finish one square, do the applique on it, and that would be my little tile of art. Put it aside, do another one another day. So my first blanket took quite a while to finish because there was no rush and I just wanted to do it. This, now obviously in a tutorial, there is a bit of a rush because it needs to be done in a certain time. And next week, we're going to start on the applique. And I'm going to lay this out on my bed now, and so that you can see what it looks like finished. Because I would even do a baby blanket in this, where this is done in an ombre, you know, where you start with cream and you go out, those balls that have, it starts with cream and it goes out to a very dark pink, and then maybe do the binding color in a very dark pink, whatever color you want to, because this is also a lovely idea for a baby blanket. Anyway, so this is the end of it, and the end of this blanket. Now we need to still do the applique, and that will be next week's episode, the following, and I still haven't decided if it's going to be 2 or 3 episodes or 4, you know. So let's just see how this goes. And this is how my little edging came out. Now in my original blanket I had 7 double crochets in my shell. In this one I have 5, and I just felt this time that 5 was great. 7 felt a bit like it wanted to flare, although it, in the original one, it does flare a little bit, but it doesn't matter. So it's all up to you. You can even put another round around it. If you've seen my rainbow baby blanket, I've put 3 rounds of shells around, and not shells in between the shells. A shell, and then on top of that shell another shell, and another shell. And I actually liked that end result very much. Okay, so if you liked this video, please give it a like, and please leave a lovely comment, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.